Okie dokie, and I'm not going to start with okie dokie. Nope. Nope. Heck no. Okie dokie, guys. Welcome back.
The line between light and dark is so very thin.
I am God! And I have become legend.
Greetings, Guardians, and welcome back to another edition of Becoming Legend.
What is up, everyone?
What is up, everyone? How are y'all doing out there? You out there defending the galaxy? Doing great? I hope so. I am your host, Birduuup, and we have with me co-host xTweeziix.
What is up?
Excellent Guardian and lore extraordinaire. And in today's episode 12, we will be discussing brand new season of the... What's the season, sir? What's it called?
Splicer.
Season of the Splicer. That's right.
I didn't know if that was a test or if you didn't know. For a second, I was like, oh, crap. Is it season of the Splicer? Oh, no. Did I mess this up already?
You passed, sir. You did very well.
Thank you.
Very well. I did forget.
All right.
That's why you passed.
It's okay.
Yes, season of the Splicer, brand new season of 12, just began 2 weeks ago. And so far, it is amazing. We've gotten some huge changes to the story. Gameplay-wise, we've gotten a brand new seasonal event that is Vex-blowing, let's just say. And after that, we're going to go into a discussion of the House Light, one of the last Eliksni houses, one of the newer Eliksni houses, actually. And we're going to discuss how they're doing, how they're handling this apocalypse that's going on. And they seem to have made some new friends we're going to talk about today. So, I think I would like to begin by asking Mr. xTweeziix, how do you feel about the new seasonal event, the Vex Overloads?
The Vex Overloads, I think they're fun. It feels as if a portion of that encounter, that event, whatever we want to call it, it does feel like it's built off of the Infinite Forest engine, in the sense of, like, I will run like 6 of them in a row, and the stuff that happens for you to get to the final boss is always a little bit different. Like, it's never the exact same thing day to day. Or you know, anything like that. So, like, you get good at one, then, like, it just changes on you the next day. It is what it is. I do think they're really fun. As an aside, I do question them being 6-man activities. It feels a little bit easier, and maybe the enemy density has been tuned down or what. But you know, especially because we had Battlegrounds last season, and that was a 3-man activity. Like, I really do think that this being 6-man, it might need a couple more, like, people just spawning in and causing chaos. Because right now, it just feels a little easy. The mechanics are fun, though. I definitely love running it. I love the fact that it is a repeatable event that I can earn in-game currency for and unlock my gauntlet that way, instead of being time-gated like we were last season. But yeah, man, like, I feel like it just needs something more, like more enemies, because right now it's just another 6-man activity that we're just stomping through. What about you?
I completely agree with that. I'm going to take just a quick moment to explain to the listeners who just heard all this Vex garble in their ears and have no idea what you're talking about. So,
Sorry.
no,
I have feelings about this.
See, this is how enthusiastic and in love with this game we just start yapping, and we don't even care about breaking down
I don't know
details.
if you guys know, but like, this isn't like a one-time thing. We it's not like we turn on Destiny for like one day a week. Like, this is what it is for me, like 24/7. You're just catching like a small snippet of it.
Eat, sleep, Destiny, repeat. It's pretty much. Yes, so the new seasonal event, the Vex Overloads that we were just describing, is a new 6-man activity. Basically what it is defend the area with a couple extra tasks involved. Once you're finished defending the area, you move on to another area, which is being called as the Vex Network. keep that thought in your mind, listeners. I would like to talk about the Vex network a little bit later in the episode. It's going to be very brief, but I think we do need to discuss exactly what is going on in this story. Back to the mission at hand. What you do, 6 of you go into the ordeal, shoot a bunch of enemies, and you collect motes as if you're playing Gambit. Pink motes. The pink motes actually look pretty cool from a design perspective. They're very...
it's fun.
You know,
it reminded me a lot of how you get different color modes whenever you do what was it, Guardian games. I was like, the thing we just finished that everybody hated by the end of it.
Guardian games, exactly. You know, so you grab those, you deposit them into the bank in the middle, and what those do is fill up the meter, which allows you to transport to the boss room. Once you're in the boss room, it's basically a giant Vex that you see in other strikes and maybe a couple other raids or something like that. How they make it different is they will randomly teleport you. Well, actually, I take it back. I don't think it's random. I think it's about 1/3 and 2/3 of the boss's health. You'll get teleported to another room where you need to take out a champion and escape the room. Go back to the original and kill the boss. That's essentially what you're doing over and over this season. Very similar to the events that we had last season. The escalation that they did in season of the Splicer is, as Mr. XTweeziix said, making it a 6-man activity. Back to your original question, how do I feel about that? I think it's a little easy. I do agree.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that the overload on, I believe this week was the moon, was was slightly more difficult than the first one that we got last week on Europa, and my hope is that they increase in difficulty as the weeks go on. If it gets to a point that you can justify having 6 players and, like, you know, make more of them have tasks that they need to complete or increase the difficulty level, you know, that would satisfy me. It's good now, it's getting better, but we'll see if it can hold me for a whole season, because just filling out the 10 weekly bounties I had this week really took it out of me. This was the first week where I was like, this is really grindy. You want me to do all of this stuff? It's a lot, y'all. It really is. But I do it so I can tell you what's going on.
Yeah, but let's celebrate the fact that we have 10 weekly bounties that we can do. We have a seasonal event where we can go and get bounties from a vendor, and it unlocks a pinnacle again. You know, we did not have that last season. And so, I don't know about you, after I realized that the bounties for Season of the Chosen were just worthless, like, they were just to get XP, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to pick any seasonal bounties up. Now we have a reason to care about seasonal bounties again. They are giving us more powerful gear, so there is a benefit to that. We did, like, we're moving, we're charting in the right direction. You know, like, some of the things that we didn't like about the first 2 seasons, they're slowly starting to come around and make the right design choices. You know,
right?
Man.
Oh yeah. It's getting really, really interesting. Another thing I'd like to explain for the listeners who really don't know what's going on this season is the overall threat of the season, the overarching, well, you know, who are we fighting? What are we, you know, what are we doing this season? Well, the Vex have constructed a simulation which has blocked out the sun. You can essentially think of it as Mr. Burns in that very famous episode of The Simpsons where he tries to block out the sun for Springfield. That's basically what's going on. There's no sun in the tower. For some reason, there's still the sun in Crucible maps, but that's neither here nor there. And not only that, there is a Vex, weird kind of mist, haze, matrix thing. I don't know. There's something hanging over the city that's putting a drain on the power and a drain on the civilians, and we don't 100% know where this came from, what's happening, or how to stop it. We did discover that an old ally of ours, Mithrax, who we actually saved in Destiny, in a mission in Destiny 1, he is a Fallen and or Eliksni Splicer, which means he is a little bit more knowledgeable of the Vex network. I believe a quote that you hear in one of the ordeal missions is, to be a Splicer, you must feel the Vex. And there's a small lore tab that we've gotten where there's a fight between an Eliksni and a Vex, and a Vex appears in the air, like out of time right behind the Eliksni, and it doesn't even turn around and shoots it right in the face. That's what it means to be a Splicer. You don't even need to see. You feel the difference in space-time and the Vex network, and you know what is going on. You can also manipulate it a little bit, but not that much. So we're teaming up with these Eliksni Splicers to try to find a way to fix this Vex simulation that they've cast on the tower.
Exactly. And in doing so, we have extended quite possibly one. It's not the first interspecies alliance. I can't say that anymore. We kind of have an unspoken alliance with Kylo right now, where we think she's going to come more into the fold. I have no clue. It's still it still remains to be seen what happens with her character. But this is the first time that we have allowed another species to take residence in the city.
That's right.
And this is a really big deal. As a small aside, the fact that we are involving the future war cult again, Lakshmi 2 is getting their time. Yes, I'm very excited. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the board. There's a lot of stuff.
There is. Feel free to dive in on whichever you land in.
Well, because as we continue to talk about our impressions of the season, and of the game as a whole, there's been a lot of questions ever since faction rallies were abandoned, and at the real beginning of Destiny 2, because they just weren't working anymore. Because we no longer have faction rallies, we still have the faction vendors that show up. Future War Cult's still there, New Monarchy's still there, Dead Orbit is still there. In the tower, you can see them, you just can't really interact with them. What have they been doing? We're now starting to see their lore come into it. And Future War Cult, which we've talked about Future War Cult's obsession with understanding the Vex. They view the Vex as being the most dangerous threat that we as humanity could face. They are the ones that were involved. They are founded around some of the technology that members of the Ishtar Collective had kind of discovered and helped pioneer. We're talking about Lakshmi makes a throwaway line talking about mind forking, which is this really complicated way of viewing through the Vex simulations to get a better idea of what to do. It's very complicated stuff that they're doing in the city, and we get to bring that back in the fold. And I'm excited because we talked about it on the podcast. I'm yeah. Anyways, we've extended a helping hand for the first time, and it's not just us. This came specifically from crap. Now that I built up to the moment, and the name escaped like that. No, our Warlock Vanguard.
Ikora?
Dude. Yes, thank you. God, I was I had it. I built up to the moment, and there it went. Ikora.
Indeed.
The fact that we're talking about Ikora Rey, and this is very much an Ikora Rey season, is very interesting. We can't wait to see how this goes. But she's the one that invites them back, and not just invites the House of Light, Mithrax, the Eliksni into the city, but she also volunteers the city's resources, and not a skimpy amount, or not barely anything, viewing them as the same way they view other citizens in the city. And it's just, this is the first time that something like this has happened, where we're starting to see other races interact more intimately with us, and we're not just this isolated thing anymore. We've talked about it with Crow, and Crow has an important part of the season where he continues to talk about how, I think he teaches someone how to say hello in Eliksni, just to be hey, they're people just like us, they're just trying to survive. So, yeah, this is the first time that we're getting to see them, and as a result of having them in the city, we are learning so much more about how fallen culture works. We're learning so much more about the House of Light. We talked about the House of Light a little bit, when we first started breaking down the different houses and talking about the stuff from Beyond Light. But this is turning into a real treasure trove of information about how, intimate details about how the Fallen work. We see Fallen babies, and they're just wrapped up, and they're cute as shit, and they have a plushie about them now because they're that fucking awesome. Yeah. This is where we're at. So it's just a very exciting time to be a Destiny fan, man. We get to talk about the House of Light, and we actually get to see what the House of Light looks like and help kind of rebuild it, because we're awesome guardians, and that's what we do. I don't know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like, what a time to be alive and go through this period where we are welcoming the Eliksni into our city. And some are, a little cautious at first, but are becoming accustomed to the Eliksni, as you mentioned before. Some have taken the task of learning the Eliksni language. Some have gone as far as serving them ramen in their restaurants.
Yes.
But there are those in the city who are very hesitant, who see monsters, who see villains, who see scourge of the universe, shoot first, ask questions later, that type of ideology towards the Eliksni. And you see it expressed in multiple lore tabs. There was one, I'm forgetting the weapon at the moment, but a lot of the new seasonal weapons, in case you didn't know, have their own individual lore tabs. So I highly recommend, if you've picked up the new seasonal weapons or armor, hold L1 on your controller and read that lore tab. And yes, you have to hold L1 the whole time. I don't know why. Just do it. It makes sense. But one of them that really kind of wowed me and was like, man, this is a good tab. There was one where Shax, the Guardian, the leader, the Emperor, Controller, Captain, leader of the Crucible.
Yeah.
One of the strongest Titans alive today, except for Saint 14, but we brought him back, so, we'll see.
It's debatable. There's actually debates about who is actually stronger. Please remember that Lord Shax held a front by himself in the Battle of Six Fronts.
He did.
So I'm just saying, like, before we come at my dude, like, let's just put some respect on his name. He took a fallen
tank by himself too. That's how he broke his horn. But so there's a conversation between him, y'all all know who we're talking about, and Mithrax, the Kel of House Light, this house that we're talking about. The Kel is the leader, is the it's not a king, and it's not even an exactly elected position. If anything, I would say is a father figure to a family. And one of the things we're learning learning in this season about House Light and about other houses is they didn't exactly see themselves as gangs or cliques or, little groups like we thought before. They were family. All Fallen and Eliksni are family. And just like you have different families with different ideologies, that's how they formed their houses. Anyway, back to the lore tab at hand. Shax sees Mithrax. He approaches him, tries to have a regular one-on-one conversation. Immediately basically says, I hate all Fallen. I kill Fallen for fun. Back in the day, at the Battle of Six Fronts, do you know how many Fallen I killed? Hundreds. Why? Because y'all are monsters. But then Mithrax says, well, in my day, unfortunately, I killed some humans too. This one time I was on a ship and we had to clear out the humans on board, and I thought the quickest way to do it would just be to open the airlock. So Mithrax opened the airlock and let those human survivors just drift into space and die. The reason they have this conversation is they're trying to not forgive each other, just find a way to just be around each other and be at ease. Try to find a mutual understanding or a ceasefire or something like that. And as the conversation continues, they kind of reflect on the fact that they both regret those actions, that they wish they would have never had to do them in the first place. They're both completely scarred by it, have, space PTSD, all this type of stuff. And they both want to work towards a world where their descendants do not have to engage in that type of violence. And for someone with, Lord Shax, we're talking centuries of rage here, at least 300 years of pent-up rage. And Mithrax, anywhere, I would guess between 50 to 150 years. So,
we don't know.
We really don't know how long the Fallen. This is what I'm guessing here.
There's thoughts that, like, Mithrax might be able to revive himself from the dead.
He could. And how long does ether sustain Fallen? So, we don't really know these things. It's a while. They don't live as short lives as your typical human, your lightless human, I believe. The things that I'm getting around to is just read those lore tabs with the new weapons. There was one more that I just wanted to highlight real quick, and it actually falls in line with the conversation Mr. xTweeziix was just happening about the vendors. There is a lore tab from the Farewell Sidearm. Look this one up. The Farewell Sidearm. You get it from doing the new seasonal activity. And in this, it's a pretty long one, but you get a relationship of a dead orbit captain who is returning to Earth with Eliksni survivors, and they crash land on this planet, and it's their story of surviving on this planet alone. And the story is told through the voice log, and you go through the captain not being able to speak with her Eliksni comrades at all, and kind of hesitant there. And towards the end of the lore tab, they've become friends, like best friends. They've completely taught each other's languages. They can communicate, pretty freely enough to talk about what is the meaning of life, what is the meaning of being an Eliksni when the traveler has left you. Those types of deep conversations. But it really just shows that over time we can become closer with the fallen. We can let go of our hatred. I'm sorry, with the Eliksni, as they correct us so much in the lore tab. They say stop calling us fallen several times. They stop calling us fallen. We don't like that. So the Eliksni can form a bond with the Guardians and the humans, and we can coexist and work together as long as people like Lakshmi 2 don't mess it up. But we'll get around to that.
And like it is obviously humanity's position is from one of distrust. Like so much of the Dark Ages is spent fighting and surviving against the fallen. Like the Eliksni. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be very hard for me too.
See,
like please remember that the Eliksni found the Traveler again and attacked us because we had become the Traveler's new favorites. We were the one that were bestowed with the powers of light. And they wanted that back. So this is just like centuries of conflict, and it's just gotten to a point with the events of Whirlwind that we talked about on the podcast, with everything that happened in the story, with us defeating the House of Devils, with House Salvation stuff that we had to deal with the House of Kings being killed by Aldrin Sov and the Fanatic during the Forsaken. Like, the Fallen as they exist now is incredibly small, and really that we've experienced only falls into one of two houses. They are House Salvation, or they are House of Light. Varix doesn't pick a side. Coincidentally, he has the ability to potentially be a Kel. In different lore tabs, we have identified him as being someone potential, to unite the Eliksni and create a super Kel, if you would. But he chooses to play the sidelines, and he supports House Light. He is the one that directs everybody from House Salvation on Europa over to Mithrax now, which is very exciting, because we also, we've only gotten a small amount, I've only gotten a small amount of the Achilles weaves a cocoon or something like that. Can't remember what the lore tab name is.
I think that's it. Yeah,
I think so. But we've only gotten a couple. I've only gotten a little bit of it. I've only gotten to read a little because I decided this season I'm not going to read ahead. And what we've gotten so far is just incredibly interesting, because we're seeing that House Salvation isn't really any better. House Salvation, you're getting more ether than you can find on your own, but it's still not enough to sustain. It's still not enough for you to grow. Versus House Light, where they talk about they share all of their ether equally. If you go down, if you haven't done it yet, people, go visit and just sit around, scan all the scannables that they have. There's markings on the wall. There's something talking about a servitor. It is just, it's a treasure trove of information that if you are into the lore, like we obviously are, you will appreciate. I think it's Ido is the name of the chick that narrates everything.
I believe so.
Ido, yeah.
Mithrax's daughter?
I couldn't figure that out. I'm not gonna lie.
It looked.
I think it is Mithrax's daughter, the official House of Light scribe,
Right.
is the one that is saying everything to you. So it's just a whole lot of information about also how the House of Light is different, and Mithrax as a character is just very interesting. We didn't expect to see him as a Splicer. Like, we didn't know what Splicers were. But he is able to manipulate space-time in the same way. You know, like, he gave us our Splicer's Gauntlet, which allows us to manipulate space-time and create portals in the Vex network and actually go into the inside parts of the Vex network, which is not what I expected it to look like. It's very neon. But he's given us this technology. I didn't, we're learning that Splicers are a thing and what their powers are. We're learning more about how, like, you can, I think they said that you could scan one of their shanks, something that's just like a throwaway, one shot kills it machine. And they just have this really impassionate story about, like, what that shank means to them, and how all of the technology and everything that they own means something to them because of the relationship that they have with it. So I'm totally interested in where the rest of the season's going to go, man. I'm really excited at the very beginning of it, just because we are continuing to do this experimental thing that we started with last year with the release of Shadowkeep, where we are, and instead of having these seasons that happen and then, like, nothing ties together, it's just kind of there, or at least it felt like it was just there. We're getting more cutscenes in game, we're getting more events in game and activities that seems to be weaving together this continuous story of what's going on in the galaxy and with everybody that has a light. And it's just, again, as a D1 player, it's just really nice that we're actually starting to see more stuff in game than we typically would. Especially because, like, if you go, one of the most, again, there's powerful moments that they're doing in these, like, small little, like, scripted events that you kind of walk up on and they just start happening once you start looking that way. Because there was one with Osiris. This past week's one was Osiris and Saint 14 and Mithrax all talking together. Oh, yeah. And I just think, like, one of the most powerful things is, like, Mithrax was just like, we are just trying to survive. Like, we are not here to do anything. We are just trying to survive. And it was a little bit ham-fisted how quickly, like, Saint 14 was like, oh, okay, you're cool, man. But, like, at the same time, we were able to have this really great moment that we actually got to see and be a part of in game. And it is just super awesome to be a Destiny 2 player right now. Like, let's be real. And I'm not saying that because I'm completely biased and this is the only game that I play.
No, not at all. Because it actually is amazing. Truly.
Yeah.
To be in the lore, I think, is the difference. Is the main difference between Destiny 1 and current Destiny 2 is instead of always reading about something happening somewhere else or occurring somewhere else, you are present for these events that are occurring that will become lore for future generations. So, to see your characters, your favorite characters express themselves, to see them say things that might surprise you, i.e. Saint 14 being, hey, you're cool. I only spent a few centuries killing y'all, but it's fine.
Do it for the kids, man.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of the kids, if you want to check out those Fallen Smallin, Eliksni Smallin, dang it. We should make like a swear jar, dude, like, and every time we say fallen, put $1 in the swear jar and see how quickly that adds up. Oh,
yeah, that's a great question.
Yes. Sorry. If you would like to go visit the Eliksni children, that is where you go to see them. In the Helm, if you go to Helm, bottom left part of the map, you can go to the new Eliksni city, which is actually the area from a previous raid that we had. That was where the Scourge of the City? Was it Scourge of the
Past?
Scourge of the Past, thank you. That's where the Scourge of the Past final boss was. I was like, oh, this is very familiar. So we took an area of inside the city. That's what really shocked me too. We gave them area inside the actual grounds, inside the walls of the city. So they are among us. They're among our civilians. They are our civilians now, honestly.
Yeah.
And we need to protect them as such and treat them as such. But it is very interesting to see the reactions of certain other people. You know, Crow has felt a certain way about it. He's actually gone to visit his old buddy Spider. I'm not going to spoil that, Lord Tab. I think you guys should read that one for yourselves. But Crow goes back and visits Spider, and it's very interesting development.
Steal some stuff.
Yeah, you know. I mean, Spider taught him how to be that way, so
Yeah.
you know, it's fine. It's totally fine. Spider, it doesn't even seem like he's that mad. You know, the Crow is really growing as a character, and we just can't stop talking about him. Apparently, every single episode, he's at it again, doing some stuff.
He's gonna, at this rate, man. Like, he's gonna be the Hunter Vanguard, and
I think
I
so.
still don't know how to feel about it.
I like that.
Like,
that
I'm fine with it happening. Just let there be more drama to get me, and don't just like everybody be okay with it. Just like I wanted more. Like, we revealed it's Uldren Sov, and we're like, Zavala knows.
Oh yeah, but how is he gonna break it to everyone else?
Oh, it's okay, cool. Like, I mean, we know we should forgive him. He doesn't know, but still, like, it's Uldren Sov. Like, he is directly responsible for the fall of the House of Kings. You know, he is responsible for the death of Cade 6, 100 Vanguard. Like, not everybody's got to be cool with this. Lakshmi, where are you, man? Like, you showed up out of the woodwork finally to have some opinions of what we're doing. No, but it is exciting. I'm stoked. This is a great time to be a Guardian.
Oh yeah.
Said it again, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take a second just to circle back to something that you mentioned earlier. In the Vex Ordeal missions, when we go into the Vex network, you mentioned it was very neon, very chroma. This is if you watched the season for this, I'm sorry, if you watched the trailer for the season of the Splicer, you saw a new area that looks kind of, I don't know, like kind of retro 80s chroma, 8-bit vibes
like
in Destiny.
Override, like that Outrun, you know, like retro wave-y feel.
Right.
Is what I got.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of F-Zero thrown in there or something. it looks really, really cool. That place is something else. That place is something else. They haven't even fully described exactly what it is, so we just have theories at this point. I'm just going to float one of my theories, one of my predictions for the season. We'll see how it goes. Maybe you'll have some, some thoughts on it we can discuss real quick. At first they said that we go into the Vex network. I don't think that's necessarily true, because the Vex are still able to appear in their bodies. You know, you don't just see just a network of information. This is a physical space where they're able to attack us and try to circumvent us. I think this is a Vex ascendant realm, so to speak. I think this is something closer to the core network that they need to protect, but they've found a way to mimic Hive Ascendant realms and create that physical space so they can still bring in threats to us to try to destroy us. Perhaps. Yeah. And there's a very small, very, very, very short little scene that happens in the first mission of the season when you're first introduced into the Vex space, where off in the distance there appears to be a taken Hydra, which some are saying could be
Korea?
Thank you. Koraya, it's kind of weird to say. It's
like
spelled
that.
weird. Koraya Blade Transform, which we've spoken about in previous episodes, is the Vex that was given from Oryx to his sister Savathun. And Savathun has been experimenting on this Vex, learning from the Vex, having them, do her will. Like, I don't even know where I'm going with this, really. It's just imitating things that we've seen before. We've seen Hive Ascendant Realms. We've seen that Savathun corrupts everything. And I'm really wondering, is it possible that she is the one behind this new assault on the tower? And if so, what is she trying to gain from it? What is she draining from the city? We know that the city, the power and its people are feeling weaker. That we're getting rolling blackouts. Things are happening. But what is the end goal here? Will it be an attempt to drain our light? Perhaps. They would be able to do it through the Vex, because as we spoke last episode, the Vex could be a tool of the Gardener and Winnower. Maybe a tool that is capable of draining our light, which actually they did one time on Saint 14. So it is possible to take that same, that same experiment, that same instance, and try to find a way to apply it to the masses. I don't know. I'm really just rambling here. Do you have any thoughts on this season?
I mean, I feel like a conspiracy theorist like every season. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, it's Savathun, I swear.
But it is, though.
Like everything is Savathun.
It is. Everything is
like
Savathun.
That dude from Ancient Aliens. But I do, I have been harboring that belief that, especially as we start getting closer and closer to the next expansion, which has been delayed, obviously. We're going to get that next February-ish. Mm-hmm. So, but we're slowly building towards that as well. And I was like, all right, well, Corey is a thing that we know exists in the lore. Could it be this powerful to be able to put the entire city inside of X simulation? I don't know. But I've loved that theory. And I've loved that, not so much that, right now it's just making everybody snippy. Everyone's just a little bit, and I'm curious if it's just to potentially start infighting amongst everybody and sow distrust this. I'm having this epiphany as we're talking about it right now. This is the season to do it, because we have now invited in a sworn enemy into our city, and this is the dividing moment. And so it could get us to pick sides and divide us further and make us that much easier to conquer. That's a possible thing. But there's also a likelihood that it's not. And, that's too complicated a story for what they're trying to tell. I don't actually know, but I love that theory. That has been what I've been going, yeah, no, for you. Savathun is going to mess with us. It'd be great to see, but I did look ahead at the triumphs, at least. I didn't see anything about Korea in any of the triumphs as far as override mission things, but we haven't yet gotten that new exotic mission. That I think it's a new exotic mission. That's my belief.
Right.
The new weekly mission, akin to Presage that we got. We haven't gotten that yet in the lore, so I wonder if that might be something that leads to it as well. Who knows? But yeah, it's exciting. Because also you can get super weird and introspective and be yeah, but is it a simulation of a simulation? Because there's been that whole theory that Destiny 2 and the Guardians are just experiencing simulation of reality anyways. And so just how far deep down the rabbit hole are we going?
All the way.
It's a simulated video game that we ourselves are playing in the simulation of the world. I'm kidding.
Yeah. No.
Power of 10. That.
I wouldn't put it past Bungie.
No.
Turns out we were the villains the whole time by making them play this. Oh, wow.
Exactly.
None of this would have happened if we didn't play the game. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. I do think this Korea, at least I hope that it is. Because that would just be so much more fun and really start to build up Savathun as being big bad evil that we're going to start to face off against. If not her, then Zebu Wrath. But we've been saying that, and no indication yet. But we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, it's an entire season of Vex and Vex related activities. So maybe as we continue to learn from House of Light and how the Fallen operate, we can continue to learn more about the Vex and maybe get a better understanding now that future war cult's involved, like maybe they'll drop some knowledge bombs on us about what they know about the Vex. Because also our Vex expert is gone. Asher Mir, I mean, wasn't really much of an expert, if we're going to be honest. If you do the Pyramidian Strike, or if you did, like, he would talk about how there was a giant lake that wasn't there. You know, so like he might not be the best Vex expert, but he was what we had for the longest time.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
hopefully we get some new knowledge bombs. Hopefully we get to learn more about the Vex. And like, what can we do moving forward to best defeat them? Have we also seen like the penultimate Vex being? You know, what was it? Infinite Mind. Something the Infinite Mind. That we defeated in season of the Dawn? Question mark. First season of Shadowkeep. That one with all the Vex offensives.
Yes.
I think that was Season of Dawn. See, this is the problem. Like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, where
it was Season of Dawn. You're right.
We may or may not have been able to remember Season of Splicer. Like, I don't remember any season names.
No.
So I'm like, I got us. Like, is Joker's Wild? Like, obviously we have the first two. What was that? Curse of Osiris. Ugh. Warmind. Okay. Forsaken, and then we had what? Like, it was Joker's Wild, the Black Armory, and Season of Opulence. And then we stuck with Season and just went with, like, as a result, like, I don't remember. There was a Chosen, there was an Undying, there was a Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a huge amount of lore out there and circulating stories. I mean, off the top of my head, I can say there's 12 revolving storylines at least going on right now, and you never know where they're going to pick and choose from, where they're going to mix, what's going to become reality, what is, you know, what sometimes they hint at stuff and make it look like something's going to happen just so, nothing happened, or it's something different. But that's what keeps us engaged. You can never fully know exactly what's going to happen. And I would say, in particular, the way they're presenting this information right now in Season of the Splicer, last season of the Chosen, even, is really engaging. You know, like I'm so hyped. I really am. There's never been a better time to engage in the Destiny lore. You know, if you don't have the time yourself, you know, follow podcasters like us. Follow, you know, go out there and seek this out for yourself. You can even just go online and read it but it's very interesting.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Very much so. Very much so, man. Well, any closing thoughts? How are you feeling about the season overall? Where are you at? We talked a little bit about how none of us have done vaults yet, but how are you feeling so far about your season? Like, what do you got left to do?
Like I said, the week 2 bounties, the 10 weekly bounties they give you, just felt a little bit. It just felt like a lot to me. That in a combination with Iron Banner, the first Iron Banner of the new season, which Cryothesia everywhere. Cryothesia is the brand new exotic stasis sidearm, which I actually quite like. Whenever you get the catalyst for it, what happens is if you kill somebody, you get a freezing bullet. You can freeze them. But say if you have 7 bullets left in your clip, it uses your entire clip. But with the catalyst, if you freeze someone and break and kill them while they're frozen, it instantly reloads your gun. So you can just freeze, kill. And if you combine that with a grenade launcher, you're golden.
That's what you're running against, dude. Like, no. Like, I ran against a lot of players running. It's Synesthesia, right? I don't know, something like that.
Yes,
I ran into a lot of people running the sidearm, but the problem is it's a sidearm, man. And like,
correct.
So I feel like a lot of people have mostly been running it just so that they can finish the catalyst quest. But it is not fun to play with because a sidearm is a close range weapon, and in order to do that freezing shot, that stasis shot, you have to already get a kill. And you're just like, that's a lot to ask for. I've been running into a lot of bow hand cannon, you know, where they have the mod that
was
allows
my
them
old meta. When we very first
swap.
got bows, I loved bow hand cannon.
Oh, but like they have that one where like it's like the mod where you can quick swap off of bows if you hit, and you're just like it's so
one hit
bad.
bow, swap, one hit gun, you're dead.
Yeah, it's so bad. I hate it. But no.
Yes. There was one gun, the Finite Impactor, that I just got this season, and I am loving that one as a hand cannon. It is really good. Got pretty good range. The
is that the Iron Banner
recoil's
one?
not that bad. Yes, it's the new Iron Banner hand cannon.
Oh, I got that one.
Pretty good.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. You guys hear it every time we talk about iron. Hate running iron.
Yes.
I
love to hate it, but you gotta those pinnacles.
Holy
though.
crap,
4
dude.
pinnacles. I mean, you gotta.
I mean, I don't have to. There's so many other pinnacles that I can. Because it's just like you either run into a full stack of 6 and they're all talking, and you're just like, well, cool, dude. I ran into that and literally like. I felt bad because my KD is like, oh, you're doing bad. And I'm like, dude, I'm running into 4 guys at once. Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, everywhere I go, I'm running into 4 guys.
Right.
What am I supposed to do,
And your team is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Over there trying to capture C when you have A and B. Why?
Like, no, like, let's just hold this and, like, just stay. Just don't go. Cap this. We're staying here. Never happens. You know, you have that. Or you can like go and you can play in the freelance playlist, which is just the sweatiest of kids during the week. It only is fine on the weekends because they're busy sweating it in trials.
Yep.
You know,
That's right.
But you know, I'm happy to say that I got my enough wins to get it done with my challenges, man. Because I was just like, no, like this is not fun. And I learned from last season there was it wasn't elimination, it was countdown. Was that one game mode that had a challenge in it? That was one of the ones that didn't cash in because I didn't run it because I forgot that it's a weekly rotational playlist.
That's right.
And like, so I had to do Team Scorch last week. I had to do Iron Banner this week. I am like at this point, dude. I'm just ready to run some comp just to like calm down and like relax because holy crap, dude. It is fun. Iron Banner's great, but just. It's not fun for solo players. So.
Oh yeah.
Fix it.
Yes.
Fix it.
Yes.
But it is nice.
Listeners out there, just if you'd like to make the experience better for yourself and better for others, just play objective, please, 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 for the love of the traveler, play the objective. Thank you.
Yeah, either that or like, don't play a long range map with short range weapons.
Oh.
Twilight Gap. I'm looking at you.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No. Man, that's good. I saw you were working on Deathbringer Catalyst, so I was like, all right, let me ask.
I think I didn't grab that one yet. I'm at 96%. But that is definitely one that I'm doing just for the sake of doing it. I'm not really going to run Deathbringer. Like, it's just... The DPS that it does with the new Catalyst is pretty good. I'll have to see what those numbers look like in the raid.
Yeah.
But it's just not one of my favorite exotics, honestly.
It's really hard to beat Anarchy and like what you can do with Anarchy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One last new thing that I did want to talk about before we end the episode is next week. I believe it's next week is going to be the crossplay beta.
Yes.
And what they're going to be doing, and all players, please look out for this. Jump in there, play as much of this mode as you can so they can get the correct test data so we can get a smooth crossplay event August 10th, which is the date crossplay goes live. So next week, starting Tuesday, they're going to have a specific strike event. It's going to be strikes only. You load in, and it's going to be 2 players from opposite consoles. So say, for example, you're a PlayStation, you might get 2 Xbox players. You might get a Steam player. You might even get a Google Stadia player. Who knows? And just play with them. Try to support them as much as possible. I would say for testing purposes, revive. Definitely revive. Don't play like a normal strike, and if someone's dead, just keep going. We need to make sure that we can interact cross-platform. So please do your revives. Please put on additional mods that will drop a special gear whenever you do finishers, stuff like that. Why? Again, so that Bungie can get the testing data so we can have a smooth event in the fall. And we all want smooth gameplay, don't we? So
I mean, it just sounds like you're a little salty about some recent strike accident, and you're just wanting some better teammates. No, like,
yeah, everybody in general, just res people. Just res people. Damn. I know you see me. Sometimes they walk right through your ghosts. Like, come on.
I try. I won't lie. I'm that player. Like, if I can get to you and it's not going to cost me my life, I will try. Mm-hmm. But every now and then I'm just like, hey, like. If I'm teaming with people, I'm also like, hey, like, don't get me. Like, I died in a stupid spot. Like, don't even waste the time. I think the biggest thing to test also, if we are going to talk about things to test, is test the in-game chat as well. Mostly just because I'm curious how this is going to work. Call of Duty obviously has cross-talk enabled for different platforms. But there's been a real question as to whether this is going to move the Destiny community further into Discord, just so that you can communicate with your friends, or if there's going to be a way in-game to do it. So also give that a test. Keep in mind, if you have friends that are on other platforms, if you want to play with them, unfortunately, this beta, you are not going to be able to queue in with them. Like, you can't just pick your friends and be like, okay, I'm gonna play with these guys.
Yep.
You are going to be forced to play with randoms.
Yep.
But
Blueberries all week.
It is going to be blueberries all week, but that's what I run strikes for, is blueberries anyways. I'll probably run it to get my 3. I'll run it to get all my bounties done. But that's probably it. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
It's fair.
If
like,
everybody
that's
just
like
does that,
bounties.
that's tons
Everyone
of
just
data.
does stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I'm curious to see. Obviously, we have a lot invested in that, and moving forward with some of our future plans for what we would like to do, both with the podcast and the greater community. We have some stuff that we want to do with that, so crossplay is in our interest. Also, it's just great to be able to play games with your friends and not have to care about what platform they're on. Just be like, yo, dude, like, I want to load up, run some strikes, or hey, let's help you get your prestige mission done. Let's run some nightfalls. Like, it'll be really great to be able to do that with all of your friends that play Destiny, no matter what. And we'll see, man. Like, I am excited to test this. I am excited to get into crossplay because I have friends that tried to do worlds first, and I kind of want to be a part of that with them. Like, everyone has their friends across different platforms that they would make like their best raid team. Yes. And I'm just looking forward to the moment, like literally that reset that we get at that moment is going to be awesome, because we can finally be one giant community as long as it doesn't suck. But that'll be for future us to decipher. Yeah, test it out. Give them, just do what you can so that they can figure out how to make this work best for everybody. Because you can really, like, you get one opportunity to roll out a feature this big. And so we want it to be as smooth as possible. If it's jank, it's jank, but like, let's do our best to make it as smooth as possible. Mm-hmm. And get them the feedback that they need. So, yeah. Past that, enjoy the fashion shows. Like, transmog your stuff if you have the 6 days that you can invest to buy a new set. I've been liking that new menu, man. Actually, I can't lie. Some of the new UI updates that have been done, I am actually a fan of. I keep forgetting that I can't, like, track individual bounties anymore, that I just get to see all of them.
Yep.
So, every now and then I'll just go right to my quest. I'm like, all right, I don't have to go here anymore. It's been 4 years of training. Stop doing that. This is the way you do it now. But it's super awesome to be, like, just, like, grinding through just like a whole set of bounties and just be able to, like, at a glance be like, oh, okay, dope, this is exactly where I'm at, like, this one's done, blah blah blah. So I'm excited, man. A lot of good changes. I'm looking forward to the future, and as always, I am looking forward to getting to talk with you on the podcast about the lore that we learn every week, man.
Woohoo! Me too. It's my favorite. I couldn't tell you, like, so many times this week, just reading the lore, it's like, oh, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that's a little over the top, but that's like how you feel sometimes, especially when it's a topic that you care about. So,
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And it's also great because, like, you know, somewhat selfishly, I think back to the podcast. I'm like, oh, we talked about this, and we talked about this.
I do
and
that
we
too.
talked
I was
about
like,
this. It's very self-serving.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, heck yeah, man. Like,
Yeah. It is definitely fun to be able to, whenever you're having a conversation with another Destiny player, to be like, yeah, on my podcast, we actually just talked about this. Oh, yeah, the thing going on right now, just talked about that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you start to be, you know, appreciated as a Destiny lore guru. You know, I have more people.
Yeah.
Even my brother, after all these years, my brother is finally playing Destiny 2 now, and he calls me up with these questions like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, hey, how come I can't do the Vault of Glass at 1220? Like, oh, you're gonna need to catch up."
oh, dude, you are. You poor thing.
It's interesting.
Yeah. But unfortunately, once he gets back, like, also that new change with the 10 points, that is such a nice change. Like, to go into a new season and not have to worry having to power level again another 50 levels. Like,
Yeah.
it's just 10, so it's just continuing to do what you were doing before. It's, yeah, we're in a great place, guys. This is the best time to be a Destiny player.
Oh yeah. Hop in, join us.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
But I believe that's all the topics that we have for today.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and
so.
wrap up this episode 12. I want to say thank you so much for sticking through with us. Thank you for listening to the new updates about Season of the Splicer. Thanks for letting us ramble on and on about Vex and Eliksni and Fallen. And I got to put $1 in the Fallen jar, man.
Yeah.
Stop saying Fallen, y'all. But
we
yeah,
won't count that last time.
No, not at all. That was for exemplary purposes only.
Exactly.
We are also messing with the format a little bit, so expect to see more of us. Used to be on a bi-weekly only basis. We're trying to work on a potential weekly format. We're going to get more information on the TWAB, on the in-game updates, as well as the lore. We're going to talk about what is going on with Destiny at large. Honestly, we just want to cover more topics. We've been talking specifically about the story, and there are other things that are worth engaging.
Yeah, and also we can continue to talk about story in all of these podcasts. It's just also a chance for us to get to talk to you guys a little bit more. For me, a weekly place to vent out all of this pent up Destiny love, because 2 weeks just doesn't cut it anymore. So we have changes like that. We have other changes talking about that we will announce at a later date, obviously. But if you guys want to stay tuned to those, if you want to stay tuned to anything that we're doing, feel free to join the Discord. The link is in the show notes. We do try and talk a lot there. We try to put weekly topics up there. We try and foster. We're going to start trying to foster more of a community of Destiny fans and Destiny lovers there. So people, if you want a Sherpa, if you're looking for people to just play with on a weekend or on a day, like, ultimately that's the kind of thing that we're building. It's just better Guardian. So feel free to hit us up on the Discord, join, do all the things, and yeah, like, there will be changes. We promised after 10, we sat down, we took that time to really think about what we wanted to do. So as we start putting more of that in motion, we'll keep you guys in the loop of everything that we're doing. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled. Stay ready.
Heck yeah.
Stay sharp.
Heck yeah.
And keep your eyes on those Vex.
Exactly.
But until then, we will see you next time on Becoming Legend. Y'all be awesome out there. And go say hey to the crow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tangle Shore Crow.
Yeah.
Don't say hi to the one that's in the helm. It's lame.
No, don't even talk to that guy anymore. I heard he sings the Savathun song sometimes. So I don't trust him.
Just ignore him.
We'll see.
All right.
Okay. Bye, y'all.